Welcome to another episode of Anewgo for New Home Sales. I am Sara Williams, and I'm going to be your host today. I'm the Director of Sales here at Anewgo, and I'm so excited for today's guest. I've known them for just under a year, and they are changing the industry and really pushing us forward. And that is who I love to interview because it's what I love disruptors. I like being a disruptor. And that is who I have on my show today. Please welcome Aidan Wollner, coming to us from Victoria, Australia, from Away Digital. Welcome, Aidan.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, to get us started, I know you guys, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and your role at Away Digital and how you came into our industry?
For sure. Away Digital was founded almost 10 years ago now as you mentioned, in Victoria, Australia. And it was founded when my business partner was working at a tier one engineering firm, and they were trying to outsource and offshore drafting work for that engineering firm. And they weren't having such a good time of it. And so he had the idea that we should outsource the drafting work for engineering firms and do it really well, really invest in the process and the people. And we took that idea and ran with it. And almost immediately, our client base was home builders as opposed to engineers. And so from that time, new business, new opportunities, we were like, let's run with that. From that time, we've been working closely with home builders, engineers, architects, delivering those drafting services, as well as estimating or takeoffs and visualization, and work with clients in Australia, but also around the world. And then more recently, we started up another business called the Digital Home. And that is what you're referring to, which is much more technology focused and transformational for the home builder industry. And that's where we're enabling builders and their design teams and their sales and marketing teams to take their architectural models and bring them into gaming engine technology. Like never before, we're able to have this level of interactivity where the user gets to change elevations, change floor plan options, change themes, materials, products, all in real time, all in a photoreal environment. And that is proving to really strike a chord for both home builders and home buyers, because it's something that people have never done before. They've had blueprints, 2D floor plans people say they understand what they're reading there, but the truth is that there's always a little bit of guesswork, especially for a new home buyer. So that's what we've been aiming to do with that business, is really give people that certainty in their home buying process by enhancing the visual component.
I love that. And as you said, building certainty, building confidence. Here at Anewgo, we have some overlap of similar offerings. But the goal, I think, it's building that confidence. Our buyers might only build one home in their lifetime. Not everybody even builds a home in their lifetime. Some shy away from it because of that uncertainty that you just talked about, and the way that your team is bringing things to life, but also you're helping builders be able to build the homes with your renderings and your CADs and your BIM software. You're hitting two different points of the process for the home builders. So why don't we talk first about the drafting part of your business? Because I do think our audience are always here in the United States, how far behind, at least coming out of COVID and coming out of the pandemic, how many of my builders are far behind with their drafting team or looking for a good drafting team. So I'd love for you to talk to us about that part of your business, because some of our audience members might be looking for that. And then we can talk about the visualization part as well, if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So we do drafting, estimating, and takeoffs as a part of the professional services that we offer. And when we work with our home builder clients, they often talk about how it really gives them the time to focus on building the homes, designing and building the homes. And it's like when they get to use our services, things happen much faster. They're able to get to site quicker. They're able to focus their internal team on certain activities and tasks, and then they outsource the rest to us. And by virtue also of having our other office in Vietnam, that gives our clients the ability to scale quickly, but also do it really cost effectively. And we know that when builders hit runs or they're going through a busy period. They're like, how do we deal with this increase in volume? Are we going to have to hire people, then go through that whole process of onboarding? And then they're like, but I've got all this other stuff going on already. Like, I'm going through a really busy period. I don't have the resources to go and do all these secondary things. That they can just call us, say, look, we need a team of 5, 10, whatever the number is, to enhance their capacity. And they engage with us, and we start doing their drafting and estimating. And often they never leave because they recognize the benefits in terms of their increasing capacity, but also the quality of work is so high, it's cost effective, and it really just allows them, as I was saying before, to focus on the things that are front and center for them. That they need to build homes, they need to design new homes, and that's some of the benefits and reasons that people use our service. And another one that we've been spoken about recently is with one of our architectural clients. They've said they're loving utilizing us because they actually get to focus more resources, more time on their existing team. And the existing team have said how much better it is a place to work now because they feel appreciated. They get to do more things. There's more professional development because they're really focusing on their internal team. And that's something that's been really nice to hear as well, that team members who are perhaps concerned when a company started to outsource are actually reaping benefits from it as well.
It sounds like their quality of life is better, right? And that's a huge,
yeah.
right? They're not
Hugely.
working like on the weekends and at night. And we all know when you have to work around the clock like that, people burn out. I think you lose employees. You lose key employees, people that you don't want to lose. You lose because they just can't sustain that for long periods of time.
Correct.
Very good. All right. So tell me this, for if a builder were to send you, and I know this is probably, you're like, oh, Sarah, this is a trick question. I didn't prepare you, but what would be a turnaround time? I don't know. I'm a bit ignorant. I'm not going to lie. I haven't worked for the home builder for about a decade. So what's the turnaround time? What would be fast in that world, or like what that a builder's like, yes, I know. They tell me because I wait for the drawings too to be able to create a visualization. And they're like, we're so backlogged. It could be 6 months sometimes. And like that I'm waiting for that because we can't start our project here at Anewgo until I get the plans. So what would be a fast turnaround? And I know that's tricky and it depends, but is there any good answer
correct.
to that?
My answer is going to be how long's a piece of string, but we set timeframes with our home builder clients because we appreciate that in the project volume world, time is money, right? And like for everybody, but in particular, the money is usually changing hands when there is a site start or something of that nature. So we in the past we've done anything from 20 or immediate turnaround where we're actually sitting on a call and marking up drawings on our computers while the client is sitting with the sales consultant or a design consultant, all the way to 24-hour turnaround to 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on the level of customization and amount of work involved. And then working with in that bigger project space as well. It's just constant. There's daily meetings, there's constant communication. And we were talking about COVID before offline, that in that world, everybody got used to working remotely, and we do the same. It's just that we utilize all of the technology that's available to us to ensure that although we're working remotely, we're collaborating effectively.
I know just even in our world, when we create floor plans, interactive floor plans, the changes that builders are doing. So I can only imagine you're making a lot of those changes. The drafting team is putting that together, and then you send it over to the visualization department, which in this case, it could be the digital home or Anewgo or that next phase of your process. I'm always looking for what's happening, what's coming. A lot of the stuff that we do here at Anewgo and that you do, it is not 100% mainstream here in the United States. But that doesn't stop us from innovating and pushing and selling. And there's plenty of builders that are innovators using all of our products, same as you guys. I know all about those products. So will you share with our audience more about your visualization and the tools that you all are offering? And we can always send links and everything in our show notes too for some examples.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks. We do just the visualization from a render perspective as well as the 360 perspective. But the really, as we touched on at the beginning, the transformational product that we've created, which is the digital home, really it's taking either 2D plans or 3D models and bringing them into gaming engine technology. Specifically in our case, we utilize Unreal Engine, which we believe to be the best engine out there. It's just phenomenal, and in terms of its capabilities and the speed of which they continuously improve, bring out new features. Honestly, it's breathtaking. It's every month, oh my God, there's this new feature going on. So it's really a new thing for the market in the level of interactivity that we're providing for the home builder space. And we've really focused in on this space because we know it well, and we've got the architectural models as well. It's that whole idea of giving people that ability to see, not just see an elevation as a front on, I can't move around, it's disconnected from the home render. It's all right, I get to make my selections in real time, see how the elevation changes, then walk into the house, go through the house, make my floor plan changes, change materials, change products. I don't like the profile of the cabinet, of the joinery or cabinetry in the kitchen. Hey, I'm going to change that, or I'm going to go through my 20 different options and choose the profile of the doors that I like. I'm going to change the benchtop colors. I'm going to change the splashback. And it's that ability to walk through every corner of the house and see it and believe it. I'm doing a renovation personally at the moment, and the designers gave us a very kind of simple visualization experience. And all it does is it creates questions. It's, oh, but what's that going to look like? Or is that the right color? All of those questions and there are so many, and I'm only doing a small renovation, but there are lots of questions that come up, right? If you're building a whole new home, and I'm familiar with the space, if you're building a whole new home, you're not familiar with home building or floor plans or reading floor plans, it becomes quite a confusing process quite quickly. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to overcome that and make it easy for the home buyer in their home buying journey, but also giving the home builder the best tool that they can then be like, hey guys, we are transparent, we are honest, we have invested in products that will give you the best experience, that you can come and see all of our products and see them and all your options that are available to you. And I think that's really important as well, that the home buyer gets to show up their whole design catalog, as opposed to something this is our one model home and that's it.
Improving the buyer's journey, the customer service, accelerating the sales process, getting people to say yes to new construction versus a used home that they have to renovate. I've bought used and renovated almost every home I've ever lived in. That's just because I'm not afraid. Because I've been in new construction, I'm not afraid, and I can see and imagine what a space could be, good or bad, but that is just who I am. I'm like, I could just rip out this wall and rebuild it. The average person that doesn't do what you do and what I do every day, I can look at a room dimension and know if it's a good, what size bed is going to fit in that bedroom. That's just what I do. I've been reading blueprints and I helped build homes for years, and now I do visualization. So we can naturally understand. I feel like our builders, because most of them are trades and we've all been doing this for so long, that we lose sight of our buyers that can't imagine it. Or I do see, and we're guilty of this, the builders that I worked for, just drive down the street and you'll see a home that's similar to yours, but we're going to go in and this room is going to be 2 feet smaller. And you go through and just say, let's just imagine.
Yes.
And 20 years ago, when I was selling homes, there was no tools like we're all offering. And now we're at this point where the tools are available. So what's stopping our industry? What are you hearing? Australia, United States, I'm sure we hear similar things. What are the biggest objections you're getting? For us, it's budget. People are like, I'm like, but you're building multi-million-dollar model homes. How do you not have the budget? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. It's that is a common objection to the same point that you made. The amount of money, the money is there. It's just about rethinking. And we work with large retail companies as well, doing their store plans. And I often pick their brain in this space because there's been this transformation for them, right? They all used to be bricks and mortar, and then it was e-commerce, and there are differences, and people will say that's a small price that you're paying for a product that you can return. That's not the same for a home. But the truth is, often model home, unless you're buying the model home,
right,
you're buying something different.
Right.
And by the way, I'm not saying that there's not a place for model homes. There's definitely a place for model
Sure.
homes.
I
But
agree with that
do
100%.
you need to build 3 model homes in a community, or do you build one and then invest in digital that you can show off all of your other homes in the area or in the community? So in terms of the objections, yeah, definitely pricing. And it's always a challenge to get different people who are responsible for different budgets in different departments to actually collaborate and say, hey guys, if you think together and work together, that you're able to actually definitely have the budget, right? It's about creating a different experience. And we're seeing a lot as well with first, second home buyers who are in that anywhere from early 20s to mid 30s space. They live and breathe gaming, these interactive experiences. That's what creates positive emotional connections for them. They can walk into a home and be like with a salesperson, and it's overwhelming for them really quickly. Whereas if they sit in front of a computer screen with or a TV and it's walking around something, and they've been playing computer games for their whole lives. This is positive emotional connection that is struck immediately. They feel familiar with it, they connect to it. And from our research, that strikes a real positive chord. And you complement that with your model home so they can see different things, feel and touch different things. And that's where I feel, and I think we're in agreement, that the market is heading in terms of that ability to give people digital experiences, which are limitless. Like it's swap your elevation, swap your floor plan options. You can't do that in a model home. Like you see what's built, and that's great, and that serves a purpose. But having that ability to have that interactivity and actually make your selections and see what you're going to build is another thing that enhances that home buyer journey.
I agree. It's like the model home's there to touch the quality. It's not all shirts that we buy feel the same, shoes that we put on. There's a lot of things we're buying online that we never probably imagined. People are buying beds now online, couches online,
Cars.
right? Cars. Well, cars for sure. That's something we get, and I'm sure you all do too, is the Tesla. And builders are calling, Sarah, I want the Tesla experience. When we offer it,
Correct.
like we're building it, we're there. You guys are right there too. You can design shoes online. I can see through Amazon what color shirt I want. You might like black. I might like red. And it's really about personalization, Aidan. Wouldn't you agree? Maybe it's not
Yeah.
fully customizable, but it's personalization. What you prefer, I might like it slightly different, and I need to see what that looks like so then I can just move on to the next decision, because buying a home is it's all about moving them down that decision path, and there's so many decisions you need to get through. So why are we throwing up these barriers?
Yeah, totally. And in addition to that, we hear from home buyers in our research that it's as simple as like the furniture not being to their liking
Right.
that can turn them off. It's not even about the home design,
The
right?
smell.
And
People are like, smell could be good. The smell could be bad. Yeah.
correct. So if you can control this, you can definitely control the smell in digital. And then having different options for furniture, where if somebody says, look, before the salesperson starts in the experience, it's do you like a Hamptons theme, or do you like more of a contemporary theme? And they can, at the click of a button, change those themes in the house to ensure that whatever the home buyer likes, they're going to see first up. Do you prefer dark tiles or light tiles, dark or light timber? All of those questions you can actually ask a home buyer, and to that personalization component, it's like they're coming into a new home design that they feel has been tailored to their liking. And instead of them walking in and it's, oh, I don't like Hampton. No, no, no. And but that's not even the house. That can all be
Right.
changed. But your thought process associated, as opposed to something that you can really control and be like, hey. So it's like all of these elements are layered. And what we're trying to do, as you said, is make it a more enjoyable experience for the home buyer and create that level of personalization, which, it's, you speak to anyone in sales and marketing, it's those things, those small things that you do continuously throughout a whole home buyer journey that really make a difference.
I agree. It's building that trust from the beginning. And I, being a salesperson myself, but it's like getting them to say yes through every stage, yes to this. And then you have to move them through that decision tree of just getting all the yeses until you get the signed contract. But if they're not saying yes to the house because the furniture or the aesthetic of the exterior. They don't like that stone and they can't imagine it being a different stone because there's no visualization tool or whatever it may be. It could be the color. You could have just
Yeah.
lost somebody right there
Oh,
on the
so
spot. It's wild to think that when we're talking about here in US dollars, 500,000 is actually like an average right now in a lot of $500,000 to multi-million dollar homes now. And we don't, you have better choices on Amazon buying a $15 t-shirt than you do buying $1.5 million house.
yeah, yeah. It's really interesting. I don't want to put a banner on top of certain people in the industry, but they definitely, when you speak to younger sales and marketing people that are still experienced, but definitely great experience, but just have that lateral thinking that it's not like we need to build X amount of model homes and this is the way forward for us as the home builder industry. They're starting to think a bit more laterally, starting to really, how do we improve our home buyer journey? How do we sell more homes for less even, right?
Right.
They're all also budgetary focused, although we, as we mentioned before, that it's an objection. It's actually not a real objection in the sense that if you look at things holistically and move your strategy and approach to balancing bricks and mortar with digital, it actually becomes cheaper. It's those guys are really they're the ones that are going to be changing the direction for the industry, I believe. And look, I also appreciate that new things and new sales tools, it takes people to feel like they're making an educated bet on what's going to be the next thing. Is this going to sell homes? But I'm sure your business is around and you goes around and we're around because it works, right? The companies that have tried it, and by the way, I'm not sure how it works with you guys, but we're not saying you need to do it for every house design for every community. Try one, right, and see if it works. And that was with one of our foundational clients in Oz. They tried it and they sold that home design over 100 times in 18 months. Like and that was for them was the impetus to be like, okay, this works. We've also sold more homes during COVID than ever before. And there hasn't been, and people haven't been able to set foot in model homes. So maybe this is a thing we need to explore. And then for them, it was about, all right, how do we bring out new designs? Should we build a model home, not a new design, build that model home, not knowing if it's going to sell? That's a big bet. That's $1 million bet. Or should we bring it out in digital format first, trial that design in market, see if it works? Great. Then we can make an informed decision as to whether we want to build it or not as a model home in the next community or in that community, depending on the size of the community. So there are all these additional benefits to going digital as well. We just did a digital home for a builder in Oz. And we finished it and we showed it to the designer and they actually weren't happy with it in terms of the design. And this is a person that's been designing for 20 years. It was just seeing with that photorealism that they actually wanted to tweak something before they released that design to market. So it was, and then I've had interior designers come to us and say, look, we're creating new interior themes. Can we see how it looks in the digital home first? Just to make sure, like at the end of the day, enhancing that visual experience, not just for the home buyer, but for everybody involved in design and the rest of the home buying journey, it only adds value. It only adds value.
I agree. Every stakeholder in the organization. So you'd mentioned earlier that it's changing the way the builders have been thinking about tools like this. It's broadening it and not making it just a marketing tool or just a sales tool. It's a design tool. Every stakeholder within the organization can make really great executive decisions based on these tools. And it's going to save them time and money in the long run of the whole entire organization. And we all know when you can save time, you automatically are saving money, not only not building this home, as you just mentioned, your example, the designer didn't like it and wanted to make the tweaks. Imagine if that was a brick and mortar and they had to make the change, how much more expensive that would have been. So one way of thinking is just, this is a marketing tool on the website. It's actually so much broader than that. And it impacts everybody in addition to our home shoppers that are falling in love with our homes before they even build it. And that's the goal. We want them to fall in love with the builder, with that home, so they can start saying yes to that new construction. And you can sell hundreds, as your one builder, you said hundreds of that home more than they ever have during COVID. That's what this is about. And I have similar stories to what you're saying too, that these are real life examples of the builders that are leveraging tools like this. And I'm really
Yeah.
seeing the value.
Yeah, and developers as well, right? So you've got these digital homes, and the builders and the developers can start to collaborate and be like, what's my community going to look like? And then if you have digital homes already, you can create a digital community and start putting them on the lots, start working out, excuse me, which applying the monotony rules. So there's all these different ways that you can start to utilize the data, the digital homes, both internally for the home buying process, but also collaborating with stakeholders as well, like developers, and it helps the developer sell the community as well, which helps the builder sell the homes on the lots. Like it all becomes this connected ecosystem, and you can start to do all this at an earlier stage as well. Like you don't have to be the timelines for developing a community from an infrastructure perspective, then building the homes and doing all these things. The developer and the builder can actually bring all the timelines forward and actually start so that when things are ready, that they're ready to go, that they can build, that they have more time to plan, more time to get on site, have all the products and materials ready, and in turn get paid earlier. So there's another way to look at it from a commercial perspective and say it does great things for my business, builder and a developer as well.
I love it. So what is next for you all? I always like to, we're disruptors. We've all have disrupt. Is there anything you can share that's coming up next? If you can't, that's okay too, because there's always like secrets in the lab that you're working on. But is there anything that we can let our audience know to look out for?
Yeah, for sure. So what we're also doing is, because gaming engines allow us to integrate data as well as have completely interactive experiences, we've definitely got an eye on the design studio.
Mm-hmm.
So what that enables us is to start to incorporate pricing, not as an estimating tool necessarily, but to give people an indication of, okay, this is how much I've been spending in my design studio. And then as well, giving people that ability to literally change anything in the home, and with all of the selection options that they get to make in design studios. And that really becomes this end-to-end solution that people can use from the very beginning of designing the home within the home builder all the way through to the design studio where people are making their final selections of the home. And the term gets thrown around a lot in terms of digital twin, but really there is that capability of having a digital twin of your home, as well as incorporating all of the data around sustainability, heating, cooling. All of those things can actually be incorporated in that environment. That's loosely some of the next things that we're looking at doing. Some are more short term, others in terms of that real incorporation of the sustainability things is builder led. So we can definitely incorporate that data, but it will be about how focused on that area the builders are. But we definitely see it as a really important. We believe sustainability is hugely important. If we partner with builders that are interested in that element, that would be something that we'd bring in as well. And then from a drafting and professional services perspective, we're just constantly looking at delivering those benefits that we mentioned at the start with builders around the world, helping them deliver homes with less fuss, greater accuracy, and making them essentially better builders that can focus on construction and building homes and supporting them in that way.
I love it. So if anybody in our audience wants to connect with you, Aidan, what is the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, via our website, which is awaydigital.com, or you can email me personally, Aidan, AIDAN, at awaydigital.com.
Thank you so much. I know it's the beginning of your day, it's the tail end of my day, but I really appreciate you taking the time out to share your knowledge. We could probably talk shop all day long with different things that we see in here in the wild. I'll say that with doing what we both do. But I always love talking to you and your team I love what you guys are doing. I think it's, I say disruptive, but all in the most positive way. We love pushing the industry forward, and you guys are doing the same. And who I love to bring on our podcast is not the same old stuff, right? The stuff that we hear about all the time. You guys are in Australia, so not everybody here in the States has heard of you. So I was super excited that you were agreeable to be on, so we could introduce you to our audience and that everyone can check out what you're about. And again, if anyone's listening in, if you're looking for takeoffs, drafting, some really cool high tech gaming engine technology, it's really impressive stuff that you all are doing. So thank you. You got to check them out. But you have a great day. And thanks everybody for listening.
Beautiful. Thanks for having us.